Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your mortgage expert here, Brian McCauley. So, are you a buyer or a seller in Dallas, Texas, and you're looking to make a move, but you're not sure what the rest of 2022 has in store? Stick around. This video is for you. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. You know, this housing market is a roller coaster. It was a seller's market for so long, interest rates were really cheap, and then obviously in Q1 of 2022, things started to change, and they're continuing to change. I don't think change is necessarily a bad thing. Opportunity is starting to present itself for the buyers, which I really like, because obviously as the mortgage advisor, we represent the buy side. We help them with financial strategies. We want to encourage them to get homes, but it just wasn't possible before now. So now that it's possible, what are we seeing? What are we hearing? What's out there, and what do I think the future holds? Well, first and foremost, I think you need to recognize two things as we kind of slide into a slow recession. Number one is the housing market across the country versus number two, the housing market in Dallas. So in my opinion, there are a couple states that did a great job, and their economy and their housing economy is much stronger than the general public and the rest of the nation. I think Texas is one of those really good states. And also I think Dallas is one of the specific cities that's doing better than other people for a few reasons. Number one, Dallas is a brand new city. It hasn't been around forever. It's a clean city. Dallas is a great economic city. So if there ever is an economic hiccup, the diversity helps the city to continue to move forward. Two, as we all know, people are migrating to Texas and Dallas specifically because of the cost of living. Yes, things have gone up, but it's still a better bang for your buck, and you still get cheap living. A couple other reasons: no state income tax. People really like that. The weather itself is really good. Great sports teams, booming jobs, the Southern people. I can go on and on and on. So if you're in Dallas looking to buy or sell, I think you can consider yourself very thankful that we're in the city. I think we're much more protected than the rest of the country. I would say, in my opinion, right now on a scale of 1 to 10, if the housing market gets bad in cities that aren't as strong as Dallas, I would say somewhere around a 7, maybe an 8 at the worst for the worst cities. I would say Dallas is probably going to end up being like a 4, maybe a 5 at the most. I think it's probably about a 3 to a 4 now. The reason I believe this is two main factors. Number one, people still need to pay attention to the population growth in this city. This is the number one indicator that will tell you how things will change and when they will change with housing. As long as people and as long as companies are still pouring in here, everybody needs a place to live. You just have to pick your expensive. It's either rent or own. Me personally, I think renting is a waste of money. I think you're paying a mortgage at that point. You're just not paying your own, and you used to be able to get away with cheap rent, kind of sitting on the sideline, but rent is getting outrageous. I think it's up almost 20% this year so far. I think people need to be very strategic about why they rent and understand it's a very short-term play. But if you're waiting on the sidelines for the market to crash, let me assure you, I don't see that coming. I do see a correction. I think the correction is good. I think things will settle, but I also think with corrections, that is great opportunity for buyers to actually get in the game, even get the house at a reduced price with some seller concessions, so you come out on top. The second thing that people need to pay attention to the most are the interest rates. So that's been the biggest sticker shock for everybody, is how fast mortgage interest rates have gone up in the past 6 or 7 months. They've almost doubled. That is shocking to people's debt to income ratios. That is shocking to their overall payment. And it's just shocking to them because it's less appealing saying, hey, 4 months ago, my payment was $300 cheaper, and now it's $300 higher. It discourages buyers and borrowers. But I want you to understand a couple things about that when you look at the totality of where I think things are heading and why it's still a good time to consider buying. So number one, back at Christmas when interest rates were 2.99 and there was no inventory, you probably could have gotten a better interest rate and you probably could have gotten a cheaper payment. But the problem is there was no inventory available, so you couldn't even get a house. If you got your hands on a house, most likely you were waiving the appraisal clause and you were paying an extra 20, 30, 40 grand out of pocket cash. So it was actually costing you more because the $200 or $300 that you're going to overpay right now in the interest rate and the payment, if you had to come out of pocket 30 grand, but you don't have to now, you're actually saving money in the long run because obviously you're just financing it through the mortgage term and it's costing you less money. It's going to take you a long time to break even and get that money back. It'll be a little bit over a period of time, but I still think you'll save money, and I do believe cash is king. The second part about interest rates is every interest rate, regardless if you're going to be in the property for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 30, they're all temporary. I literally help about 450 families a year, and out of everybody that I've helped over 17 years, I've never had one person that is not refinanced unless they sold the property. So if somebody bought a property and they've been there for a year or two and the rate was 2.99, obviously they're not going to refinance because they sold it, made their money, and got out. But for anybody that's planning on staying in their property for an extended amount of time, 3 to 7 years, which is kind of the average turn time right now, if you get a 5.5 interest rate today, I can assure you in the future, maybe 12 months, maybe 24 months, interest rates are going to drop back down. And you are going to do what everybody else does, which is reset your financial position, bring that rate down probably 1%, maybe 2% if we get lucky, save a lot of money and get back to where you want to belong long-term from a payment standpoint. But in the meantime, you're still going to have that house. You're going to have a place to call your own. You're going to be able to get the appreciation on the property. You're going to be able to start paying down the note, potentially get some tax deductions. So that's why I want people to, pay attention to the housing market for what it is and don't have so much sticker shock about the interest rate. It's a temporary thing. It's going to last 12 to 24 months. Don't flush money down the toilet, renting, waiting for rates to drop back down. Because by the time they drop back down and you go to buy, that property will be more expensive. You don't know what the inventory position will be like. When rates start to drop back down, two big things happen. Number one, there's a refinance boom. Saves a lot of people money. But the other piece is too, when rates drop back down, as rates drop quickly, it gives those potential home buyers more incentive to go buy the house because now the rate and the payment's cheaper again. The problem is when you get so many people at one time all scrambling back into a market and they're trying to buy the same properties again, now you've got too many people, not enough houses, the bidding war starts again, and you start to outbid each other and you're back at square one where we're at Christmas. So that's why I think now is still a good time to consider buying, because you're not going to have as many bidding wars. I think you'll be able to get your hands on a property at a pretty good price. Now is the time to take advantage, specific to getting a house, the price on the house, and the concessions. It's not the time to take advantage when it comes to interest rates, but remember, these interest rates are temporary. The last thing I want to mention about the market heading into the end of 22, early 23 is if you're a buyer out there and you're looking at new construction, these home builders are offering really good deals on the houses right now and really good deals on their financing. During the boom of COVID and the massive influx of people and the massive shortage of inventory, these builders were building at max capacity. As the economy has slowed down, as interest rates have spiked up, the demand from consumers has slowly drifted. So now these home builders are sitting on either properties that they can't sell, properties that may be 50, 60, 70% complete, and the potential home buyer that wanted it in the past either doesn't want it anymore, or sometimes when they went under contract, their interest rate was 2.99, now it's 5.5, and the people actually don't qualify anymore. So in order to cut their losses, minimize the damage, make sure that they still make a profit, but give good inventory to the consumer, they're starting to either discount their prices or they're still starting to offer incentives, 10,000 off, 10,000 in upgrades, 5,000 in closing costs. And so now is a really good time to go consider looking at a new construction, because 6 months ago, the builders had all the power because everybody was still hitting the street real hard. There wasn't enough inventory. Now the builders have too much inventory. Buyers are not hitting the street as hard. Builders have a fear, so they're starting to back down on their prices and their concessions. And I think it's a great opportunity and a great time for you as a buyer to go have a conversation with your realtor and a builder to see if you can get a great deal on one of those new construction properties. So listen, if you found this video useful, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. If you got any questions about new construction, the state of the housing market, the future in Dallas heading into 22 and obviously early 23, leave a comment below. I promise to get back to you. If you just want to set up a consultation and talk with me about future housing needs, your specific scenarios, want to get pre-approved, call us, email us, text us. Just know we're always here to help. Until next time, stay tuned.